What's up, baby? It is Space Talk time. Obviously, not coming after a win. So, something that we're going to have to get, broken into. So, here we go. First one after a loss. But either way, man, we're going to start this in like we always do. Let me know where you're tuning in from. After that, I give you the big boy shout outs, man, because either way, whenever there's Steelers football, baby, there's plenty that we got to digest and break down, man. Also, make sure I go through my checklist while we getting all this stuff out in the pleasantries part of this here stream. Make sure that you like this vid, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and more importantly, hit that notification bell. And don't forget that today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, man, the leaders in below the waistline grooming. Hey, man, it's that simple, right? That Lawnmower 4.0 that is amazing, that keeps your short and curlies nice, short, and tight, so that way, you can feel good, look good, smell fresh, and be fresh, but more importantly, keeping your dangly twins and friends excited about it. Promo code is Moats, and that's a simple thing right there to tap in at manscaped.com. Get you 20% off and free shipping worldwide. Alrighty. So now that the pleasantries are out of the way, let's see what we tuning in from. All right, I got my man Old School 90s. Tuning in from California, Cam Mo Kid, aka my little brother, the 804 Colonial Heights VA in the house. Can't forget Robert Hostler, the 717 Central Pennsylvania, hoping for a Dolphins win now. Yeah, that game was getting pretty tight. I'm not sure if it has ended just yet, but it was getting interesting. All right, see what else we got tuning in this thing, baby. Mike Hood, the 614, salute you. Westside 412 tuning in, obviously from the west side of the 412. Salute. Got my man Fun 6000. Duval, the 904. I see you in the building. And last one I'm going to hit on the front end of this thing was Rodney Klein. Tuning in from the 724 Beaver Falls, PA. All right. Take a little shit. Let's talk about this game, man. So, as we look back on, obviously, the Steelers game, and, they took the L, 17-14. My initial thoughts were, offensively, we had moments, but it was way too stagnant. I thought we were way too careful with the ball. Defensively, I thought we flashed at times. Obviously, we had the interception with Minka. I thought that the pass rush at times looked like they were going to give us something. But then it never really materialized to what I thought it could be. Running game wise, offensively for us was not what we wanted it to be. Nowhere near as consistent as it needed to be. And then obviously defensively, we were doing better against the run early on, but in the later part, and obviously on that last drive that they had, man, to run out the clock, that's when they really were able to take over things. But the way I like to do these recaps, man, when we're doing our space talks, is to start, just based on some of the key matchups that I thought were important. And this is what we do on 5-Star Fridays, right, or our 5-star matchups. So one of the matchups, as we go down this list, talked about Matthew Judon versus our offensive tackles, right? Dan Moore and Chuks Okorafor. Saying, hey man, are we gonna keep Matthew Judon for taking over this game and having one of those performances where he's in the backfield a lot, wrecking a lot of havoc? To me personally, I think that they did a good job of minimizing his impact in terms of him as a pass rusher. Granted, he had the sack, but what do we talk about? We said, man, Matthew Judon isn't a guy that's winning a ton of one-on-ones. He gets his sacks largely based off of effort, scheme, just being a smart, cerebral player. You saw in the sack that he had today, that was exactly what it was, but still a really good player. We saw him make some plays in coverage, obviously the one on Najee Harris. But as a whole, I felt that we did a pretty good job in that matchup in terms of giving Mitch Trubisky the amount of time that he needed to have as he sat back there, and was running this offense. And obviously, we're definitely going to deep dive into Mitch and that whole ordeal as well. Don't think we letting him off the hook. But like I said, man, going back over our 5-star matchups, that's where we're going to start it off. The second matchup, though, and this is where it was a little bit interesting. The Patriots rush and attack versus our defensive front seven. Now, when we talked about this, when we said, man, the Patriots, they are committed to running the ball, but they don't have the talent of, say, a Joe Mixon, the running back we saw last week in Cincinnati, nor did we feel like they were necessarily productive with it. It was just they were intentional. They were going to stick with the run, and we knew that regardless of how much success we had early on against the run, that they were going to stick with it. And we thought, or at least I felt on paper, that this should be one of those ones where even though they're going to give a lot of attempts, it should be 3 yards. 3.3 yards per carry. I thought that we were going to be able to do a better job, but obviously that was not the case. They tuned us up in this department, man. 31 carries, 124 yards. Obviously the touchdown, 4 yards per tote. That can't happen. That's we talk about last year and why our run defense struggled at times. That's what those numbers would look like at times. And then the situational part, when it's 4-minute offense into the game, you got to get a stop. You got to get off the field. To see them be able to run the ball the way that they did, even after, and this is the part that kind of surprised me too at the end, whether, they're running the ball, and I think it was Damian Harris. He had the long run where it's, 2nd and 12, picks up 10, but he falls down inbounds, but he falls down about 2 to 3 yards short of the first down. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, this is a great situation for us defensively, because now we're going to be able to get this stop, make them kick the field goal. It's only a 6-point game. Mitch get the ball. Let's go to work. But for them to be able to come right back the next play in an obvious situation where everybody in the stadium knew they were going to run the ball, and for them to be able to get it the way that they did, that was very, very disheartening right there. So in terms of did we win that attack or did we win that matchup? No. So right now, let's see, we're sitting at, we won one, or we could say even with the Matt Judon one. All right. And then that's a loss in terms of our rush defense versus the Patriots rush offense. Third matchup I had was we were talking about Alex Highsmith and Trent Brown. Now, early on, you could see Highsmith causing Trent to have some issues, man, with some of the speed, his ability to bend the corner, but it never came home. Now, early, I thought that it was more so Mac Jones is doing a good job of just staying on schedule, staying on key, wasn't really extending plays, was getting it out on time. But as the game progressed, we saw that, hey, he didn't have to hurry it up anymore. He was able to actually take his time, go through a lot of his reads, and feel very comfortable. And that was, to me, somewhere where Alex Highsmith, he didn't have the impact that I thought he would have in this one, man. Obviously, we'll go back and check the tape, after the fact and stuff like that. But, just initial reaction, I thought that he was going to be able to cause a lot more disruption. I thought he was going to be able to cause a lot more pressure, but it just was not there consistently enough in this matchup. So, unfortunately, that's another loss. So when we're talking about our 5 key matchups right now, we're sitting at 2 losses definitely there, and then potentially an even situation with the Matthew Judon matchup. So here we go to the 4th one. And this is one that I felt good about also, man. Mac Jones versus Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, what was Minkah able to do today? So he had the pick early on, man. Excellent job, man. Disguising the Tampa 2 luck. And then from him, man, just going out there and being a playmaker. 2 weeks in a row, 2 times he didn't got the interception. I liked it. So, yes, we did get that. But as a whole, Mac Jones, all right, man. All right. I stand corrected, man. All right. He was a lot better this week than he was last week. Okay, am I ready to crown him? No, but he did look better. He looked a lot more comfortable as well, man. So that was interesting. But I am seeing in the chat where y'all saying that the Dolphins won, so at least we can hang our hat on that right there. So give us a little positivity. But as a whole, man, with the Mac Jones versus Minkah Fitzpatrick matchup, I would put that as even because obviously, like I said, man, Minkah got the pick, but Mac Jones still, had what he had. And let's see, what did he end up with? 21 to 35, 252 passing, 1 touchdown, but 1 pick. Still crazy to think that he was not sacked at all. When you think in the contrast of everything that took place last week and how, much pressure we were able to create and guys winning one-on-ones inside, outside. I mean, in this week, at times in that second half, Mac Jones is back. That thing just chilling. Yo, who's open? You open? Hold on, man. Let me check my text real quick. It was just crazy, man. We can't have that, man. Cannot have that. Now, the final matchup that I did put up there, we actually did win. This was their tight ends versus our inside linebackers, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Obviously, they didn't have any completions or any catches, targeted 4 times versus our inside linebackers. Our guys won that matchup, but unfortunately, that wasn't the one that mattered the most. Unfortunately, the one that mattered the most today was their wide receivers versus our DBs. And that was a matchup that was very disheartening because we all thought that that should be a very clear advantage for our secondary versus that group of New England wide receivers. But that was not the case, man. Those dudes were really able to have a lot more success and be way more consistent than we've seen them on tape and just in general what we expect from these type of guys, man. So I was not the most excited about that right there, man. But as a whole, man, this is one of those things, man, where we got to continue to grow. We got to learn. We got to get better. Now, going to Mitch, because I know we're going to get some of those coming up. Initial reaction is, man, yes, he has to play better. Not in the sense of him being a terrible quarterback, but the problem is he's too conservative right now. When we're talking risk versus reward, some of the things that make Mitch intriguing and make Mitch appealing is he protects the ball. He doesn't have a lot of turnovers. We obviously saw the pick that he threw early on in the game, and we were all kind of like, man, it's a terrible throw. Tampa 2, man. Tampa 2 is doing it to people right now. I didn't like the throw. I didn't like the read. I thought that if you're going to make that type of throw, you better have a cannon of an arm to fit it through those two defenders, or you're going to need to wait and put a little bit more air. But either way, you're going to have a tough time trying to get that type of throw off. But with Mitch, man, I thought at times I liked his rapport with Deontay Johnson. I thought that he was doing some good things in terms of throwing him open, especially on third downs. And our offense was a lot better this week on third downs than it was last week, right? Where we had to wait until the third quarter to get our first third down conversion. I think going into the half, we might have been like 6 of 7 on third downs. So Mitch, I thought, was doing a better job in that vein. I thought in terms of his command, I thought that the confidence was there even after he threw the interception, which, was a surprise because, when you're thinking about a guy who's in the middle of trying to be the replacement to Ben Roethlisberger, you got the young guy, Kenny Pickett, who everybody's excited about. That's a difficult task, man. But I thought that he did respond well after the turnover. But the biggest issues that I'm seeing with him is he's not taking enough chances. Yes, defenses are going to play coverages where they're going to prevent you from necessarily being able to throw for 3rd and 7. I get that. But at the same time, you cannot just take check down after check down, little flat route after flat route. You have to, at some point in time, say, you know what, man, my arm is better than this defender, or my vision, my anticipation is better than this coverage. And that's the part where, for me, I need to see more from Mitch. When we're talking some of the, 10 yards and in stuff, man, watch how he takes chances throwing the fire move. The throw that he hit to Deontay Johnson, the 2-point conversion, I loved that. But that was Mitch actually challenging the DB. That was Mitch actually taking a chance and showing the risk versus reward factor. And obviously, erring on the side of taking a chance. And we saw what it was for him. But the problem is he's just not doing it enough and not doing it enough vertically. So when you're looking at the numbers, it's like, yeah, he's going to have a ton of completions. Obviously, what did he have today? 21 to 33. That's a lot of completions, right? Anytime you're getting over 20 completions in the NFL, like, dude, yeah. But the problem is 168 yards, 5.1 yards per attempt. That's not, or average completion. That's just not enough vertically. That's not enough to make a defense feel threatened. That's not enough to make DBs feel like they have to play on their heels. And it's also not enough to make defenses feel threatened in any regard. I mean, when you're talking about, can this team run the ball? And we know that the Steelers have been struggling to run the ball. You can't not be able to run the ball and then not be able to stretch the field vertically with your arm. That's why the offense was looking the way that it was looking for the majority of the time that it did today. But to me, man, Mitch, he has to take more chances. I think that's going to be the big thing when he looks at this tape. I'm sure the coaching staff, when they're talking to him, whether it be Matt Canada, obviously Coach Sullivan as well, when they get to talking to him, man, that's what they're going to have to talk out. They're going to have to point out, because it's not a timing issue. It's not, he's not getting enough time because of the protection. We saw that today. He had plenty of time. And that was the part that was making me a little upset. When you have time and you're still just throwing these little checkdowns, like, that can't be the case, man. Take your time. Allow some of these guys to either naturally win, or when you talk about extending plays, man, when you're in coverage for 5, 6, 7 seconds, man, it doesn't matter what you're doing defensively. Dudes are going to get open eventually. And that's the part for me where, if you're Mitch, you got to be willing to take those chances. You got to be willing to say, you know what, I'm not going to throw this 3-yard out to Najee. I'm going to stretch this field and hit George Pickens on a 15-yard dig. I'm going to hit Deontay coming across the field. I'm going to do something like that. That's the part for me where I want to see more from Mitch. But that was, like I said, my initial reactions to the game. Oh, another person I did want to shout out. I did like at times what we're doing special teams wise. Obviously, Boz was money doing what he does. Cam Sutton, I like what I saw from him today, man. Should have had the interception. But as a whole, man, I thought that he was still very sticky in terms of his coverage. Got his hands on a lot of footballs, just around the action a lot. So I was really really impressed with what I saw from him. Obviously talked about Minka Fitzpatrick once again, putting his stamp on it, doing what he does, man. 2 really solid weeks from him. Oh man, who was the other guy that I thought stood out? Oh, Pat Frymouth. Yes. He was another dude, man, for me, man, just being able to see him continuing to grow and develop and continuing to see the Steelers actually be more intentional, targeting him a lot more this week. I think he ended with, here we go right here. Yeah, Pat ended up 7 targets, 4 catches. Obviously, it wasn't a ton of yardage, but the timing of some of the stuff, the impact, and then obviously the touchdown at the end, man, was huge, man. So I definitely like that from him. But as a whole, like I said, offensively and more so quarterback related, Mitch just has to take more chances, man. That's just what it boils down to for me initially. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and shout out to everybody that is here with us today. You know, big time salute. Make sure y'all liking the vid, hitting that subscribe button as well. All right, so AJ Martinez, he says, what the heck, still in nation? Coach T is 3-9 versus the Patriots. He used their alternative name, but shout out to AJ Martinez. Yeah, that's crazy right there, man. And it was also nuts too, because when you talk about obviously him being 3-9 versus the Patriots, but at the same time, they brought up the stat during the game where they're saying that, you know, over the past season in these 1-score games, Steelers have been 5-0-1. And everything did give us that feeling that, hey, man, it's about to happen. We're about to make a play. We're about to get a stop. Something's going to go in our favor to get our offense the ball back. And then we're going to get one of those iconic walk-off, field goal, Boz wins type situation or touchdown, however we needed to slice it up. But, yeah, it never really happened, man. So that was a little bit surprising for me, man. But, yeah, to see Coach T have a record like that against them, man, I don't like it. But at the same time, that is a testament to who's on the other side of the field, and that is Bill Belichick. One of the greatest coaches that we've seen in this game, man. So it kind of goes twofold. So I do get that. Shout out to the man, Mike Hood. Mike Hood, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Also, for my upper room members, remember this. So this stream, this is live right now for the public. Everybody can get this, and we like it like that. But once this ends, I am going to come back and do an additional 15 to 30 minute or 15 to 25 minutes. You know, I don't want to say that 30 out there like that, but about 15, 25 minutes, man, where it's going to be private just for the members only. All right. So that'll be immediately following this being done. All right. But we still got more meat on this bone. So let's get to work. All right. We got my man, Michael Brooks. He says, struggling to join the upper room. What do I do? In the description box of this video and every video, it's a link. It says, join the upper room. Click on that thing, man. It'll take you right there or on your desktop. That'll be the other easy way. All right. Official momentum. What it do, baby? He says, on to Cleveland. Yeah, we're going to get there, but just not yet, man. If you turn the page without correcting, without critiquing, without acknowledging, then we're going to get the repeat. And we don't want the repeats. We don't want to see more of, you know, the stagnant feeling offensively, the lack of explosiveness at times offensively. So those are some of the things we got to correct. And then obviously on the defense side of the ball, man, we got to do a better job in coverage. I thought that we still were sticky at times, but the 50-50 ball was what killed us today, man. I felt bad for Akello at times. I'm like, man, he's in great position, but the 50-50 ball was getting him today, man. But when you're out there, it's like that at times. All right, Jacob Malicio, what it do, baby? Says Moats, Manscaped is the truth. Nah, man, shout out to you and shout out to Manscaped. Like we said earlier, promo code is Moats. Get you 20% off along with free shipping worldwide. They are the ones sponsoring today's Space Talk, so we got to have major love for them. And shoot, it's also a testament to y'all because y'all keep rocking with the channel. Y'all keep rocking with this content. Manscaped like that. So, hey, man, appreciate y'all. All right, let's go UW. He says, it's not a QB issue to those wanting Kenny. It's an OC issue. Canada refuses to adjust. He's either incompetent or arrogant. He needs to go yesterday. Now, that is one part of it, sure. But the other side is the decision making that is taking place on the field, and that is on Trubisky. So when we're talking about both of those guys, is it dual faceted? Absolutely. But to what extent? That is the real question. And we're trying to figure it out because last year we, had the whole debate of is it 7 in terms of Ben Roethlisberger or is it Matt Canada? So now you have new quarterback, same coordinator, but we're seeing some similar issues. At the same time, how people's expectations for Mitch Trubisky, how high or low they may be, could determine who they put the blame on, whether it be on Trubisky or on Matt Canada. For those that are a little bit higher on Kenny Pickett, that is part of the reason why they want that switch, because they feel like, hey, if it's not, if it's this dude just being limited, let this quarterback come in who we feel a lot better about and see if he can go ahead and light a fire up here and do something else. So I get both sides. I do get the people, that put it a lot more on Matt Canada, but at the same time, I do get the people that put it on Trubisky. I think that it is, somewhere in the middle for both of them. I lean a little bit more to Mitch because he is the veteran and he's the guy that's actually on the field. But either way, they both got to be better. Alex P. He says, I'm crying right now. Trubisky, one of the worst QBs I've ever seen. I'm so sad. Please start Kenny. That's all. That's all I got to say. Now, I will give you context, man. You're saying Trubisky's the worst quarterback, but we know this is, knee-jerk reaction. You're in the moment. I get it. Because at the same time, we're not going to act like he did not lead us to a nice drive at the end to get the touchdown, throw the 2-point conversion to get us within, striking distance to keep this game as close as it was. Cannot forget that part. But in terms of the ultra-conservative moments, that is the part where a lot of us do want him to be better. A lot of us do want him to, stretch the field and take more chances. But as I've said on numerous occasions, that is a double-edged sword as well, man. Anybody can take chances, and that's fine until you start taking chances and throwing too many picks, turning the ball over, or you're just throwing a lot of incompletions and now we're not able to extend drives. That is the other part. So I get it, but at the same time, it's like, man, we got to understand what we're working with right now. Mitch Trubisky isn't Ben Roethlisberger or prime Ben Roethlisberger, because I know people say, well, he was better than Ben last year, and I get it. But he's not prime. He's not prime Ben Roethlisberger. So there's going to be times where, he's going to be limited. And I think that's something that people have to understand in terms of the context of what a good performance from him looks like versus what we might feel as what a good performance is. And I get it, man. In terms of the standards and stuff like that, we can have this approach that, hey, we're not settling for anything under here, and that's fine. But you also have to understand that if you don't have the guys that are capable of giving you this, it doesn't matter who you're putting out there at quarterback, we're going to still be dealing with issues of lack of consistency, lack of productivity, and ultimately our offense feeling stagnant. So that's the only issue with that, man. But we will see, man, how this thing continues to progress. Mike Bittner. Is it the play calling or Mitch? I don't understand. Why are we not going downfield? We have the receivers and Muth. That to me is the part where I personally think it was more on Mitch today. I thought it was times where he could have taken a little bit more chances with the ball, but he just didn't want to. And part of that is good for him because it keeps the stat sheet clean, right? He doesn't have a ton of turnovers because we all saw how it was on the first interception. Everybody, bench him, get him out, right? Because he turned the ball over. But then when he's protecting the ball and being a little bit more just conscientious of where he's putting it and, what chances he wants to take, that's the other extreme to it. So we're trying to find that in-between spot. But at the same time, the play calling does play a factor in this. And that's something that for me, I can't just tell right now. I need to go back and watch that more to see, who was more at fault. But either way, with both of those dudes, in terms of Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, and Mr. Trubisky, they just got to be better. All right. Got the homie Colton Cho Fu. What up, buddy? What up? He says, aloha, Moats. Hey, like that. Says, do you think our O-line will get any better as the season goes on? Is it just me, or does the unit look worse than last year? No, man, I thought that they were better in pass protection again today. Still running stuff, in terms of run blocking where we're having our biggest issues with this offensive line. Do I think they're going to get better at run blocking this year? I personally don't have the most optimism for that. I think if they can get to just decent, I think I'll take that for this year, but I don't expect them to have this big jump in terms of, being these road graders all of a sudden. I do think, like I said, protection wise, I thought that was pretty decent today. I thought that at times Mitch had plenty of time, and he just settled on, the safer throw, the more high percentage throw. But at the same time, a high percentage throw isn't what you necessarily need in certain situations in games, and that's the part for me where I want to see more from Mitch. I want to see him taking more chances. Got to recalibrate his settings a little bit, man, for all my Madden heads out there. All right, take me a sizzle. This is my man Barilla 92. Barilla says, game had me heated. We aren't winning any games with that level of QB play or offensive play calling. Shout out to the D getting hung out to dry again. Yeah, they got to be better, man. They definitely do, man. And I get it. I definitely get it. The defense, though, they were out there a good amount. But at the same time, I think defensively we got to be better as well, man. We have to be, I think, more consistent against the run. That's the first thing. I thought third down wise, I thought we started out decent. But then it got to the point where we weren't consistent enough there either for our defense, and I think that was also part of the reason why they were able to stay on the field. And also our pressure, man, the pass rush, that's got to be better too, man. So I know, like I said, offensively they didn't do the most, but this was they were not the sole reason of our defense, having their moments of struggles at times. But they still played a good game. I mean, you think they only gave up 17 points, so yeah. At the end of the day, they still did what they needed to do. You would think 17 points defensively, if that's what you allow, that should be a dub. And we had a turnover. But either way, man, that is just part of what we're talking about, though, right? In terms of this offense, in terms of them taking more chances downfield, because that's the biggest part. If, we were having the issue where we're like, hey, man, we're not protecting the ball, that'd be one thing. If it was like, man, we're fumbling the ball, we're throwing a ton of interceptions, okay, yeah, that's a different issue to have. If our issue was talent, man, we don't got no receivers out there that can win enough one-on-ones. We don't have any tight ends that can get open. That's another thing. But that's not our issue. We have the talent. We aren't turning the ball over. Our issue is we're just too conservative right now. And yes, I do think, like I said, it's the combo, man. The Matt Canada and Mitch Trubisky. But more so on Mitch because he's the guy that's out there on the field. When you are the person that is on the field, I always side with the onus being on that player because as a player, man, being a guy that's been out there, no matter what that coach says, man, it's up to you to make that decision. It's up to you to say, do I throw this check down on 3rd and 8? Or do I say, you know what, bump that. Let me throw this, let me try Deontay over here. Let me try Pat over here. Let me try to make a contested throw or maybe a contested catch or give my guy just an opportunity for a jump ball. Those are some of the things where I'm looking at Mitch and I'm saying those particular areas are where he has to be better. All right, James Harvin. Whoa, well, James Harvin, shout out to you and welcome to the Upper Room. Yes, indeed. And shout out to your last name, Harvin, because my man Presley Harvin had that boom daddy punt to start it out, man. I definitely like that, man. Connor Hayward with the big time tackle as well. Shout out to him. If you haven't checked out his interview either, make sure you check him out. He was on the podcast with us on Thursday, man. Dope dude, man. All right. Jalen Johnson. Jalen says, the play calls didn't look bad. Mitch just couldn't read the field and make the throw. The line played very good in pass pro, gave Mitch time. Yeah, you hit on a lot of those things. I will say this, though. I don't think that Mitch can read the field. I thought Mitch could read the field fine. I thought that he wasn't patient enough. When you talk about some of those third downs, it was, all right, I'm catching it. I'm seeing they're going zone. I'm going right to my check down, get him the ball, see if he can make a play. He read it fine. The problem is holding the ball and taking some chances. That's where he has to be better because, like you said, the O-line gave him time. It was plays where the O-line, he was able to sit back there, but it's like, man, he'll here. All right, bump that. I'm just dropping it off. And if this is 1st and 2nd down, that's a great decision. 1st and 2nd down, yeah, you playing zone coverage, man, drop it off to Najee, let him go to work. It's a great play on 1st and 2nd down. But when it's 3rd down, that is not the play that you want on 3rd and 8. It's not the play that you want on 3rd and 12. Those are the areas where he has to be better. Those are the areas where we want to see him taking more chances. And that's, for me, my biggest, issue with him coming out of today's game. Just, in terms of the initial reaction. Now, when we go back and check the tape, we'll see, what more could have been out there. And then obviously some areas where he probably did better that we aren't necessarily crediting him in as well. So that is a part where the film will give us the full breakdown. All righty. Sean McCartney. Oh, no, I'm not there yet. Am I? No, am I? Yes, here we go. Sean McCartney. I'm ashamed and embarrassed to be a Steelers fan. Hey, baby, it was your week 2. We 1-1. You good. Namaste. Got to get you some of them happy, all natural, man-made, or not man-made, but earth-made, plant-based things to make you feel a little bit better about yourself, man. Because, hey, as bad as it was at times today, and honestly, it was more so the stagnant feeling, that feeling of just like, yo, what are we watching? Then, oh my God, we're outmatched. Oh my God, we don't stand a chance. Different. So when we're talking context, we still had an opportunity to get up out of that stadium. We still had an opportunity to stop late in that game to give us our offense a chance to get back out there. Just as a whole, we got to, like I said, we got to finish better. We got some things that we got to clean up and be more consistent in, but still, it's not as bad as, what we making it sound like right now. All right, we got it. All right, AJ Martinez, he says, it is Tata's fault not going deep or play calls. I wouldn't think number 10 has he wouldn't think that Mitch has a say in the play calling. Well, yeah, I don't know in terms of, how much say so Mitch has in the play calling or not, but at the same time, he is the guy who has the final say when he's on the field. So when we go back and we look at the All-22 and stuff like that, we'll see how much of, it was play calling where he wasn't stretching the field, and then we'll see how much was actually on Trubisky not taking some of those chances, because it's never as cut and dry as we initially think it might be. When we go back and check the tape, that will show that, man. But yeah, either way, it's gonna be on one of them two, and that's what I'm waiting to see. All right, now with Sean McCartney, and he says probably never going to another game. Oh no! Now don't tell me you were there and that's why we lost, because if that is the case, then you could be the jinx. But then again, if you're there and we win, now you're the hero. TBD. We'll come back to that. All right, Lubo. Shout out to Lubo. He says, what about those missed catches? Yeah. But it wasn't a ton. To me, I didn't think that was the bigger issue today. I thought for the most part, man, our guys did what they were supposed to do, man, in terms of like catching that ball. I like that. Yeah, I thought I didn't think that was the issue, man. I thought more so offensively, man, it was just taking those chances. Deciding to actually stretch the field. Yeah, I'm going to have to look back, though, to see some of these misses that you were referring to, but I didn't think that initially, man. Sean McCartney also says, Steelers didn't want a win today. Now that, yeah. Because when you talk about wanting to win, first off, man, you can't turn the ball over. We did that twice today. Obviously mentioned that we had the muff punt by Gunner. That was crazy. I'm saying like Gunner. I had zero thoughts of you mishandling a punt, let alone losing the ball. That was very alarming. That was very surprising. Hopefully that is not going to occur again, because he is a really good return man, as we've seen. And as the Patriots know as well. But that was very uncharacteristic from him. But yeah, man, when you're doing those things, you're not stopping the run. You're allowing, the Patriots to extend drives. Offensively, we're not able to finish drives. Yeah. That is a recipe for not wanting to be successful. Absolutely, man. So I can understand your sentiment, my man Sean McCartney. Young Rico. What up, Young Rico? And before we get to reading Young Rico's comment, make sure y'all liking this stream as well, man. Don't want to forget that. Know we got a whole bunch of new ones that just jumped on, man. So salute each and every one of y'all today. But he says, 7 set the bar so low the past 2 years that we are crediting Mitch for having good drives. Can't remember the last full game a Steelers QB balled out. I mean, sure, yeah. But I will say that with that being the case in terms of full game balling outs, you look globally, it's not a ton of quarterbacks that are doing that aren't top 5 level quarterbacks. That's the other part of it. So sure, the bar is lowered now because of, like you said, the past years have been where he started to regress a little bit, but we still haven't experienced true quarterback bad play, true quarterback purgatory, and all that type of stuff just yet. And I'm speaking from personal experiences. Yeah, man, this is new to Steelers fans, and I get that. But yeah, in terms of quarterbacks lighting up full games, not a lot of them dudes out there doing that. All right, TJ Hooper. TJ Hooper says, Mitch taking these checkdowns, looking like he's playing it safe, but not stretching and taking shots will make him lose his job as well. Overall, we are so talented to not be putting up points. I agree 100%, man. That's, my sentiment. I think that he's just playing a little bit too safe. And it can literally be the difference of him just taking 2 to 3 more additional chances in the game. If we want to chalk up the first interception that he threw as a chance, I don't like the throw. I don't like the read. I mean, when you're trying to hit Deontay coming across versus the Tampa 2 look, that's a tight window to put the ball in. But if you want to say that was the chance he took, okay, fine. But it was like, man, he never went back and took another chance after that. And that's the part for me where it's like, man, you can't be like that. Being conservative or hitting what the defense or taking what the defense is giving you is one thing, and I do think at times he should do that, and I thought that he did a really good job in that avenue. But at the same time, you have to take some more chances because it makes the defense have to be open. It makes the defense open up, and right now defenses aren't having to open up against us, and that should not be the case when you look at the talent that we have on the perimeter. Our wide receivers, tight ends, these are guys that can win one-on-ones. These are guys that can be matchup nightmares. You have to utilize them. You have to get them in to get them more involved in the offense and ultimately give them chances to be playmakers. Because right now they're not even getting a chance, and that's the issue too, man. All right, Paul Craig. What's up, Paul Craig? He says, "Gotta say, so grateful that the Browns and the Ravens lost." Well, hey, shout out to that. Yeah, I did not know both of them lost, man. So good. That is definitely good, man. So yeah, I think we're still. Oh, I guess we all won a division last week too. But either way, still early. But yes, I do like where we're at right now, man. Good headway. Can't keep, it can't all be negative. So yeah, positives. Like your thought process. All right, let's go, UW. Says, I don't know why we are passing on 3rd and short. Just run the ball. Especially the last drive on 3rd and 2. They need to get that bad clock management. Or they needed to get that bad clock management. Yeah. I do wonder if part of why we're throwing the ball on 3rd and shorts is the lack of confidence that we have in being able to just consistently pick up 2 to 3 yards running the ball. I mean, you look at our offense, when we're talking about our rushing offense, it is wildly inconsistent, whether you're talking Najee Harris or Jalen Warren out there. I mean, the one play where Najee ends up picking up the 3rd and 2, I think it was, or 3rd and 3, it took like a Herculean effort, him having to bounce it outside, stiff arm the defender, one end of the ground, and extend. That's a lot to just pick up, a couple of yards. I do think at times that weighs on the coaches when you're talking about the decision making. Because if I'm seeing that, how many times do I feel confident that he can do that? How many times do I feel confident that we can pick up 2 to 3 yards just running the ball? But the flip side is when you continue to put the ball in the air on some of these, shorter down and distances, now it looks bad when you don't complete it. It looks bad when you're, coming off the foot and it's like, bro, man, we could have just ran this, man. It's not that far. But I do think, like I said, part of that does go back to just not having the confidence in this group to pick up that type of stuff, man. All right. AJ Martinez also says predictable play calling. So sad. Yeah, I mean, that's a part of it. But at the same time, you can call whatever call you want. If, you're not going to run block the way you need to run block, it ain't going to matter. If you're not going to stretch the field the way you're not going to stretch the field and take chances the way that you need to in certain avenues, it's not going to matter either. So, yes, predictable, but at the same time, I don't think that is the, end all be all in today's situation offensively. Sean McCartney says, first losing season for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Well, I mean, people have been saying that for a while now. We still haven't seen it. So until I see it, I don't believe it, baby. Jacob Malicio, says, please do a breakdown of Miles Jack and George Pickens. Yeah, I definitely want to talk Miles Jack, man. I thought that he was flying around out there. Obviously, he had what I think it was 14 tackles he ended with today. Let me double check that because he was out there. Yeah, oh, so 13. He ended up with 13 total, 5 solo. Yeah, I want to see him more to just see, everything was kind of going on with him, man. So stay tuned. I probably will, tap into the tape on him. But to me, man, I thought Miles Jack, man, he continues to be a steady contributor, man. Passing game, tackling, just physicality, being a leader out there, man. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Miles Jack, man. And George Pickens, man, even though it wasn't the level of involvement that we really want from him, still was good to see him getting some more opportunities today, man. But yeah, I still need to see more. Give him more opportunities, man. I know what he had, the 23-yard catch. I think that's what he had, right? Yeah, the one for 23. He had targeted 3 times, but yeah, as a whole, you got to get him more involved, man. The dude is special. We can see the talent. We can see, what he's capable of, but it's just like, man, just give him some opportunities. Be more intentional. That's the word for me, man. With him, in terms of George Pickens and with Pat Fryermuth, intentionally target these dudes, man. I don't want to say force it, but man, they deserve more than, let's see, what did I say? They deserve more than George Pickens getting 3 targets. Like, I need more than that. Pat, I'm fine with Pat. 7 targets, that's good. That's a 5. That's a 5. But yeah, we need more. Because both of these dudes are talented enough, man. All right. Official momentum says 15 more game opportunities. Yes, indeed, man. So that's what I'm over here like, why we burning the house down, man, and going crazy? It's just one game. We ain't tripping. We are not tripping. All right. Sean McCartney says, I am a jinx. I was there for Cincy versus Steelers last season. Blame it all on me. I don't care. Can't make my night any worse. Nah, man. They ain't blaming it on you. You weren't out there on the field. The ones who were on the field are the ones who blame. That's the context, man. And Lou Bo says that pass that hit Pat in the face mask, then that muff punt combination with the Pats running game hurt my feelings. Yes, my brother. Yes. That was a rough sequence, man. I forgot who the DB was, man. It was crazy, but he did a good job of just flashing his hand. Pat doesn't see the ball, he loses track of it, but it hits him square in the face. Bop. Yeah, I was really, was it his finest moment? Not at all, man. But that's more of an outlier, and we understand that as well. Yeah, but then to turn around, have the muff punt situation, and to think, man, the muff punt happened, and if I remember correctly, we should have had the pick on that drive as well from Cam Sutton. Hit him in the chest, drops it. Then from there, you get the muff punt. Then they turn around and score, and you're just like, bro, how? What? Like, this is the nuts. That sequence of events like that. But when you're talking about the NFL, man, you're talking about executing. You're talking about the importance of making the plays you're supposed to make. Cam gets that pick. That muff never happens potentially. They don't get that short field to potentially score. The game is completely different. But it's things like that where you just like, you never know when it's going to happen, what play is going to be the impactful play, or potentially could have been the impactful play. But that's why, as defenders, we're always taught, man, you got to make the plays you're supposed to make. Catch the balls that come to you, man. And that's the one thing for Cam Sutton. That's my dude. He knows this. He's kicking himself right now all over it because he knows, man, that's one that I got to have. If I have that right there, man, it changes the outlook. It changes, whatever else is about to happen after that. But unfortunately, he doesn't make that play. Gunner fumbles. They recover. Touchdown a couple plays later. And now here we are, man. Such is life in the NFL. All right, official momentum. Hey, baby, I see you, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed, man. You know I got big love for you, homie. Let's get it. Sequoia Harris. He says, Akello Witherspoon got cooked today. Master Moats film coming soon. Love this show. Oh, man, Sequoia, I love you as well, man. Man, major love. Oh, Akello, I'm not going to... Yeah. I'm gonna just take a sip real quick. We'll take a sip, pause, meditate, then we'll come right back to my man Kello. So, Akello Witherspoon did at times have a rough go at it. I thought that he was in good position a lot of the times. It was just him losing the finish, the combat catch element of it. That was a disheartening part. We obviously saw that on the touchdown to Nelson Aguilar. He's in perfect position, jumps up and everything. It just doesn't finish the play. We saw that a couple of times today from him. Obviously, it doesn't feel the best when you're thinking about what happened last week in some of his matchups as well when he was facing Jamar Chase. But Jamar Chase. So context, right? Context. But yeah, for me, man, I don't think that it was the absolute worst performance we've seen. I don't think, he's feeling overly great about today, but at the same time, it's still some positives they can hang his hat on. My biggest thing is, man, you just got to finish better. Some of those combat catch, 50-50 balls, I wanted to be 50-50. Right now, it was kind of like 90-10. It won, like that tried to be funny, but it wasn't what we needed. We needed to be more in our favor. So that is the part for me, man, where Akello, I do want to see him improve, but like I said, it's still early. So we'll see if this is the trend that continues. Well, now we're having a different conversation. If we're seeing multiple receivers when he's matched up one-on-one being able to win as frequently as Jacoby Myers or Jamar Chase was doing these past 2 weeks, well, that's a totally different conversation. But right now, it's still early. So we will continue to take some time with him. All right. Lou Bo. Shout out to Lou Bo. He says, it seems like Mitch is scared or something. Maybe he's not that confident in the offensive line. If you watch his old film, he would move the pocket and make a throw on the run. I'm just lost on the offense as a whole. No, I can understand maybe being, lost on the offense. And yeah, when you look back at what Mitch was doing in Chicago and then even last year in the preseason with the Buffalo Bills, he would take more chances. He would do a better job of extending plays and just moving the pocket using his legs. And at times, we saw that last week. We talk about the big throw that he hit to Pat Freiermuth. What was he doing? Extending the play, right? Getting out the pocket, making something happen. We didn't see a ton of that today. I don't think that he's scared. I think that he's just one of those guys that when you talk about how you wage risk versus reward, risk versus reward, he's not a guy that's big on doing the things that give you big rewards, because typically the big reward plays are the most risky plays at times, right? When you're talking about tight coverage, 50-50 jump ball, stretching the field, it's a lot that can go wrong on him. I think for him, he errs more so on the side of low risk, high percentage throws, which is fine, but it's only fine in certain contexts. It can't be what you do for the whole game. It can't be what you do in situational football. I always think of Tom Brady, especially when he was in New England. One of the things that would piss us off playing against him, man, he was fine taking what the defense gave him in the sense of he'll hit Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, all these guys, dink dunk, dink dunk, dink dunk. But when it's time to stretch the field, when it is time to take a shot, he's going to take the shot. Now, we knew they were going to also dial it up for him in terms of the coordinator scheming it up, but he was going to take the shot. He was going to let it rip, and that was what made their offense such a headache. It was like, man, you can't play them aggressively because they'll take a chance and shake you. They'll take a shot downfield, but if you play conservative, they don't mind, dink and dunking 10, 15 times. We got the dink and dunk part, but we don't have the take the chance part. And that's the thing that we got to get more out of, whether you're talking Mr. Trubisky or Matt Canada, because like I said, I think both of them in that capacity have to be better. I think they both share some type of responsibility with that, but that's the part that's missing. The high percentage throws are there. The consistency in terms of dinking and dunking is there. We picked up a ton of first downs. That was there. But what was missing was us actually taking the shot to make that offense be that much more scary and make defenses have to be, fearful and say, oh, whoa, we can't we don't have it figured out. We can't just do this right now. They actually can stretch the field. Right now, we're not showing that enough. And until we do, it's going to look like what the offense looked like today. And that's the unfortunate part. All right. Sean McCartney. What up to you, Sean McCartney? He says, if you can't beat the Patriots at home, then who can you beat? Won't be surprised if we lose to the Jets too. Well, technically we did beat the AFC champions, who were the Super Bowl representatives, at their house. So technically, that is a positive, right. Okay. Context, baby, context, man. We can't, completely lose our minds and act like we didn't get out of last week's stadium with it up, okay? But in terms of if you can't beat the Patriots, who can you beat? No, don't say it like that. Just think of it like this. If you play a game where you're going to turn the ball over on multiple occasions, you're not going to stretch the field offensively, you're not going to be able to run the ball, and you're going to allow over 120, 130 rushing yards, hello, it don't matter who you playing. That's a recipe for disaster. When you're talking about, hey, you're going to get sacked 3 times and you're not going to get any sacks in the game, that's going to be a recipe for disaster. You can't have those things happening. You can't lose the sack battle, lose the turnover battle, lose the red zone battle. Or lose the rushing battle. Lose the passing battle. Every battle that you want to talk about, we lost. So when those are the things that are happening as a whole, that is going to create some significant issues for us, regardless of who we're playing against. Patriots, Jets, Central Catholic, South Fayette, Churchland High School, it don't matter. Those are the things that we have to be better at. And today, just across the board, we were not good enough, and that's why we lost what we did. But think about this, right? All those things I just said, right? They outrushed us. They threw for more. We didn't protect our quarterback. They protected their quarterback. We didn't protect the ball. They protected the ball. And we still had our opportunities to get out of that stadium. So when you're thinking in terms of the context, we're right there. But this is the minutia that we hear from Coach Simon. When he talks about the little details, when he talks about fine-tuning and finding that little thing for that winning edge, this is it right here, man. These are some of the things that you got to comb through. So when we're talking about when they go back on the tape, they're going to pull up these same things we're talking about right now and say, hey, we got to be better here next week. Thursday, because if we're not, similar things will happen, but there's still a ton of things that you still should be very optimistic about based on what we're seeing right now. But we knew that we were going to be going through some of this stuff. Don't get it twisted. I know last week had everybody on cloud 9 beating our chests, but we knew, hey man, this is a team that's going to have some stuff to work on. Just means we won't be going 17-0 right now, but 16-1. Here we go. Hey now. All right. Salami Obama Slat says, if Sutton picked it, no muff punt, no short field, and the Pats don't score. Mitch would have still blown it with another 3 and out, put Kenny in 7+1. Wait, man, that's all a matter of perspective. The unfortunate part is we will never know because, that was not what happened today, man. But in due time, man, Kenny's going to get his chance. I just hope that, for the people that are calling to bench Mitch after 2 games, I just hope that the energy is the same for whoever gets that opportunity at quarterback going forward. Because if it's not, then it's kind of like, hey, man, what's the situation? Whatever is this one? You know what I'm saying? Like, at least let it make sense. And at least keep it consistent. That's all. But 2 games, yeah, I'm not on the kick them out. Let's go ahead and make the switch move. That's just not my energy, man. It's 2 games. All right. Lubo says, every time someone speaks on Witherspoon, I think of that video with him versus DK Metcalf. Sad face. Yeah. It's a part of it. But when you're playing DB, man, that's a tough position to be in. Even when you're right, you can still be wrong. It's not like linebacker, D-line, stuff like that, where I could be in my gap, miss the tackle, but hey, this guy over here can make it for me. I could be in my gap, and the guy runs me over. Those are still like 50-50 opportunities where we're losing. No different than a 50-50 jump ball. The problem is where it takes place at. Where, in the box, it's covered up. Man, it's a lot of bodies over there. Somebody else can make the play. It doesn't stand out as much. For those DBs, though, when they make a mistake or they don't win in those 50-50 opportunities, when they get run over, essentially, right? That's what the jump ball is for them. That's what it looks like. And it just stands out so much more. So, like I said, I feel for my dog Kello at times, man, because that is just, it's a part of the business, man. It's part of it, man. But hey, for him, man, he'll bounce back. If he don't, we're going to find somebody else that will, man. So hopefully for him, he steps it up, man. Him and Levi Wallace. I'm still liking what I'm saying from Cam Sutton, though. It was crazy to think, though. We didn't know if he was going to be able to really stand up like how he's been on the outside. But I think thus far, man, he's been doing his thing, man. He's been looking like one of our better dudes, or our best cornerback, not DB, but corner specifically. He's been in that conversation these past 2 games, man. So big time salute to him. All right. AJ Martinez, he says, you called earlier before the season, Moats. If we don't turn the ball over and play stout defense, we can win. Little room for mistakes, though. Yeah, that's our margin of error right now. But as you said, we turned the ball over. Defensively, we were stout, but at the end, we could not stop the run when we needed to. Those are the areas where if we need our defense to be, at this level throughout the whole game, they got to be like that throughout the whole game. I do also feel that we missed TJ Watt. We felt that impact, man. It felt real scarce at times in terms of impact plays and just crazy pressure, feeling like, man, all right, it's about to happen. Strip sack, something, TFL. Like, we were missing that element, that dynamic. And that truly is the TJ Watt effect. Because we know who TJ Watt is, man. The reigning decoy for a reason. But when you don't have TJ out there, now we're asking Alex Highsmith, who, if you're talking about him as the number 2 guy, yeah, he's going to thrive. And we saw that last week. But him as the number 1 guy with a little bit more attention, it wasn't the same level of productivity from him. And obviously, he'll go back on tape and correct what he needs to correct, man. But he's the guy for me, man, where I want to see more. I need him to step it up a little bit more. I thought Malik Reed has some good rushes as well, but just not enough finishing, not enough getting home in terms of sacks, in terms of turnovers, and that's the part where we got to be better at. Farron Bradford, shout out to Farron, says, shout out to New England's offensive line. I would agree. We made Mac Jones move around, but they got movement up front when needed. I still don't like the zone run scheme. Offensive line is not generating movement, and Najee overcompensates for it. Yeah, they definitely did not generate enough movement, but that could also be part of why they're going to more of that zone scheme versus a power scheme, because it's hard to be a power scheme run blocking unit when you don't have power scheme run blocking players. Difference being run blocking players in terms of that power man scheme, it's moving guys one-on-one. It's saying, hey, I'm just going to take this guy who's lined up across me. I don't care how big he is, who he is, and I'm going to move this guy and I'm going to get 2 to 3 yards of grass. If you got the personnel for that, awesome. We used to. But right now, our personnel is more built for zone. What is zone blocking schemes? Position blocking, quickness, laterally getting into a spot, body position, running back gets a chance to read down the line of scrimmage. Boom, boom, boom. In man to the 3 technique to the nose. Those are some of the things that we're doing offensively, but that also, like I said, is a byproduct of our personnel group not being a group where we're just blowing guys off the ball. So once again, is that a play calling issue or is that a personnel issue? Yeah. All right. Xavier Cunningham. Oh, excuse me. Might have skipped you. My bad. I don't want to skip you. Jay. I see you, Jay, in the building. All right. Jay says, I definitely wanted to see Jaylen Warren get more carries and possibly catch a rhythm. He was running hard and downhill. No, facts, man. Jaylen smashed the one, I think it was the DB tried to tackle him going to their sideline. He runs him over, man. It was a nice play. Yeah, you can see the explosiveness from him. You can see he's one of those dudes, man. He looks like he's ready to break one or do something nice out there. But yeah, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. He was still getting some chances though. I want to see how many touches did he end up with today. Where is he? So Jaylen ended up with 4 touches, 15 yards. Then he obviously had the one pass attempt, or the one catch for 0 yards. But right now, when you're talking about him as RB2, I'm not expecting a ton more in terms of opportunities because we got Najee Harris. And Najee is our guy. Najee's the first round draft pick. Najee's the bell cow. So Najee's the guy that we're going to continue to run or try to run through. But yeah, Jaylen, yeah. We're going to see, man. We're going to see if they can figure out a role or something to highlight some of his talents a little bit better. But we'll follow that, though, man. Because, yeah, I do like what I see from him at times. Okay. Now we're to Farron Bradford. And he says, difference between Mitch Trubisky and Mac Jones were pre-snap reads, and New England made plays in the middle of the field. It's just frustrating. Oh, where you at? All right, it's just frustrating because New England isn't a better team. No, I'd agree. New England is not the better team. But, I thought Mac Jones, man, he played well today. I thought that he was taking some of the chances that we talk about Mitch not taking today. That's what I thought Mac Jones was doing. He was taking those chances. He was throwing guys open. He was giving his guys chances to win 50-50 balls. We can praise it whether it be pre-snap or post-snap, however we want to talk about it. But to me, it boiled down to one guy taking the chances where the other guy didn't. Now, Mac Jones wasn't perfect. We obviously saw the interception to Minka. Had another one that was dropped in terms of Cam Sutton. Yeah, it wasn't perfect. And we can make a case that, hey, if Akello, gets that 50-50 ball instead of Nelson Aguilar, that's 3 opportunities to turnovers. So you can see just how, tight it gets defensively for us and obviously offensively for Mac Jones. But that's the part for us offensively that we at least want those opportunities to have the discussion. We're not even able to say, well, yeah, that could have been, but this happened. Or that could have been, but that happened. Like, we're not even getting there. And that's because of us just not taking those chances, whether that is by design from Matt Canada or just the being too conservative by Mr. Trubisky. But we'll find those answers out, like I said, once I get a chance to check out the tape. All right, got a couple more of these. Then, yeah, we'll be wrapping this thing on up, man. But each and every one of y'all, I definitely appreciate y'all being here with me today. Okay. Xavier Cunningham, he says, Mitch Trubisky on what needs to happen to get more passes to the middle of the field. Call concepts to get there, or to get receivers there. Canada's fault. Mitch wasn't perfect. Yeah, I'm kind of confused. Yeah, unless you're saying this is what he said post-game, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what the tape is for. So, yes. Alrighty. Jacob Malicio says, quote for the day, pause when frustrated. Let the game tape come out before we rush to judgment. By the way, I give it a 3.8 on parking, no handicap spaces. Shout out to you, Jacob, man. Checking out the vid, man. We teach my little lady to park. And yeah, I'm with you on that too, man. We don't do handicap spots, man. But yeah, in terms of pausing when frustrated, that's 100% correct. Because yeah, for the people that are doomsdaying it after one game, like, bro, weren't we all the same ones talking about world beaters for beating the Cincinnati Bengals on the road? Like, can't go both ways, man. That's what I'm saying. Just give it a little time, man. Just give it a little time because, yeah, we win on Thursday night. We'll be back here talking about how good we are and how we tough and, anybody can get it and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, just pump your brakes. Pause, breathe. Who saw that thing, baby? And we're going to be all right. Alrighty. Colton Chofu, excuse me on that, says, I'm disappointed today, but I'm still coming to the Berg from Hawaii to watch us smack Brady around. Let's go. We still the Steelers. You better believe it, man. That's the energy I'm talking about, man. Let's go. All right. Farron Bradford then says, Moats, they also don't have the technique to zone block. So now we got to ask, who are we drafting? Because this ain't adding up, LOL. Power O-line is the way up. But we've been saying we're going to draft offensive lineman for the past couple of years, and we still ain't done that, so I'm not holding my breath. We're going to take a linebacker or a running back or a skill position player. We're going to do something. We ain't going to do no O-line. That's what we do. We're going to do that, man. So, yeah, don't hold your breath on that one. Dane Fowler. Shout out to Dane. He says, Akello Witherspoon did not look like himself today, man. Him getting mossed brought me to my knees. Yes, he got to be better than the 50-50 balls, the combat catch element of it, man. But we will see what he can do on Thursday night, man. He's going to get another opportunity versus, a group that's feeling really good in terms of some of the offense productivity that was happening in Cleveland with the receivers and stuff like that, man. But, yeah, Kello he got to play better. He definitely does, man. He knows that as well. AJ Martinez says, Moats, shout out to my daughter Alexis Martinez for being a good person. Man, you can never have enough good people around you, man. So salute her as well. And then the final super that I have before we wrap up today's Space Talk. It's from Mike Bittner. It says, Moats, Najee stutter stepping instead of hitting it. Can you do film study on the O-line? It looked like there were holes for the running game, but Najee not hitting it quick. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to have to go look into that then, man. I could definitely tap into that, man, and see what's going on with the running game. But, yeah, this is one of the ones for us today, man. Sucks. Like I said, we took the L, but at the end of the day, man, it's just one loss, and it's super early in this season. I still feel like it's positivity that we can take away from this day, man, but we will get better. For my upper room members, remember, I'm about to close this public chat down, and then we're going to come back, and I will have the exclusive members only stream up. All right, so y'all make sure y'all stay on the channel, man. It'll be up in probably like 2 to 3 minutes. All right, but everyone else, man, I greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all, man, for tapping in with me today. Make sure you like the stream, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not, and more importantly, hit that notification bell. Appreciate each and every one of y'all, and until next time, baby, peace.